Ready? 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Speaker, sir, I shall be quite brief. We are perforce engaged in a painful exercise as they are sitting in a post-mortem over the ashes of Charari Sharif. Not only the shrine but also the houses, the homes of hundreds of people. It has been a monumental failure of our intelligence. I do not wish to go into details about this because so many other colleagues have spoken about that, and I say it because we also come to this judgment. We can only come to this judgment on the basis of whatever information is available to us. We do not know about that. The government has not told us what feedback the government was actually getting from our intelligence services during this prolonged period when these insurgents or terrorists have entered the town of Charari Sharif and later on entered the shrine and were busy with their activities of laying mines and so on. We do not know about that, but this was going on since February. People are asking why the security forces were not able to prevent these people from going in or from storing the arms there and so on. If the intelligence has provided them with the warnings, then perhaps they could have done something. I do not know about it. I remember even at the time of the Golden Temple affair in Amritsar, plenty of arms were carried into the temple and stored there, although the temple area was surrounded by security forces. To this day, we do not know how this was permitted unless, of course, there was some collusion. But it did happen. Next para. Sir, I wish to emphasize some general realities, broad realities, when we are dealing with this kind of a situation. It has also been stated that this is a multi-religious country. People are very much exercised by religious sentiments and different communities are there with their own places of worship. And in such a country, if you are concerned with maintaining the unity of the country, the protection of such shrines, whichever religious community they may belong to, must be a must, a top priority. Our record in this matter has not been too commendable. Whoever may be to blame, I am not blaming anybody. I could, of course, start accusing various people who are involved in this. The fact of the matter is that starting from the Golden Temple issue, we do not mind and we cannot mind if some lives are lost, if some terrorists or even members of the security forces have to make a sacrifice, but the shrine should be preserved, the shrine be protected, because it has a much wider connection. Next para. In the case of the Golden Temple, many lives were lost. The main shrine of Harminder Sahib was protected, but the Akal Takht could not be protected. I need not repeat here again what its fall out was. It is one of the most tragic and dismal chapters in our history. In the case of the Babri Masjid, we could not protect it from being demolished, although a whole number of public assurances had been given by the Chief Minister, by the Prime Minister, saying that no damage would be allowed to come to the Babri Masjid. But those assurances could not be kept. Next para. And now we have come to Charari Sharif, where the whole township, including the shrine, has been burnt to ashes. Our security forces were there in position, but they were not able to intervene and not able to protect the shrine. My first contention is that in a country like this, if the protection of places of religious worship cannot be effectively carried out by the government, then if a whole series of mishaps takes place, as has happened in this country, the unity of our country, which after all has a history of running into thousands of years, we have a composite culture. We have so many religions, so many different cultures in this country will not be preserved. That unity is in grave danger of fragmentation. One of the key points is the protection of these religious shrines. We have passed an act also in this house, but the question is what happens on the ground. The second point I wish to make is that while dealing with the situation in Kashmir, we have to remember, whether we like it or not, that we are behaving with an alienated people. We are treating with an alienated people. Who is responsible for that? I am not going into that also. The long history of alienation, how it come about, how people who virtually compelled the Maharaja to accede to India against his wishes and did not go to Pakistan. How the people who almost barehanded fought back the first wave of Pakistani invaders, tribal invaders, and drove them back. How such people have now become completely alienated from us is, of course, a matter of much pain and sorry. Stop.